Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. Give me 1 second. This is a short notice. I didn't even actually. I didn't schedule it. I just wanted to make sure I can show you something before I close out Pigman. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna close out something here, make it easier for everyone in terms of icons and everything on the screen and such. Let me get back on here. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. I would appreciate it. And also, one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm always forgetting these things, man. It's pretty funny. Give me 1 second. Good evening, Cigar Gangster. SXS. How's it going, guys? I'll be closing out Pigman in 3 days, and I just wanted to, you know, basically pitch those who haven't backed it into giving some reasons to back it. I'm going to read some reviews for Pigman from leftists and from someone on the right as well. And it's interesting, some of the comments. So give me 1 second. I forgot to post, and I guess you guys can hear me well. If you can, great. Thank you. I forgot to post the link in YouTube, which I should be doing. Give me 1 second. And while I got everyone off the screen, okay. So it's the last 3 days of my Pigman campaign. I'll be closing it out Monday. I would appreciate your support, everyone. Thanks, Cigar Gangster. Appreciate it. Yeah, Table for One. It's part of this, and it's basically, hey Hamilton, how's it going? CG Cigar Gangster. Very, very, very cool. Table for One, just a pitch. If you haven't heard it, Dirty Harry as a waiter. That's the pitch I used to make at conventions. I love going to conventions. It's not something that I've been able to do for a number of years, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I sold a good number of copies of Table for One, a few thousand copies, which was nice, right out of the gate, which actually shocked some of my fellow cartoonists at Mocha and SPX. I thought I didn't sell enough. They were like, "Damn, that's good." I'm like, "Is it? A few thousand copies? I don't know. I want to sell a whole lot more." But there you go, right? That was 2004. Yeah, it's a Table for One is part of my Pigman campaign, as well as Prop Piganda, which is the first print appearance of Pigman, which I thought I sold out recently, and I made a move. I moved recently to a new home, and there was a few boxes left, buried under a whole place. Fleety One says Table for One was amazing, highly recommended. Thank you very much, Fleety. Much appreciated, truly. It means a lot. It was my first entrance into the industry. I was nominated for an Eisner and a Russ Manning Most Promising Newcomer Award, which is fantastic, but it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. A great honor and excellent. SXS, appreciate it, man. Yeah, it was a really fun book to do. And again, I wanted to enter the field that I love with something in mind, something a little different. And as I was working on it, I was able to get Dennis Kitchen as an agent. So he sent it all over the place, and it ended up with Random House, and they were the most serious about it. But what happened was they sat on it for a while, and I couldn't make a move. And I was like, I want to get it out there. I sat on it for a year. That's tough, for a first work. I mean, especially for me, I wanted it out there. And after a while, I say, you know what? I want to just self-publish it. To hell with it. That's it. And then after I was nominated for an Eisner and stuff, other publishers were interested. But I said, you know what? I think it's a self-published work, and that's that. And then Dennis tried to get The Infidel featuring Pigman, which was the original title, to publishers. And in the end, he basically told me, Bosch, they're pussies. And he's a very soft-spoken guy, relatively speaking, Dennis Kitchen. He is. He's a great guy, and he had the balls to take it on. And his idea was that these guys are pussies, and he's right. So yeah, guys, I just want to read a few things here, and I hope I can get this on screen. I think I can. Okay. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. Let me pull this back down. Okay. So this was from 3 reviews that I had from 3 leftists: Broken Frontier, Graphic Policy, and Bleeding Cool. Rich Johnston, Brent Schenker, and what was the last guy's name? Give me 1 second. I don't know. Sorry. No name there. And so this is just to say that even though they trashed me at times in the reviews, I took the positives out. And to them, it was worthwhile, despite our, ideological differences. And there was a time when leftists were willing to at least acknowledge if something is good, regardless of their, lack of, agreement, politically speaking. So here's what Rich Johnston said: "There are all sorts of narrative tricks at play here that can't help but impress. There are moments that remind of Dark Knight, Year One, and 300, exposing character, physicality, and direction in a very impressive fashion, and a comic book fashion at that. This is not a movie pitch. This is very much a comic book, reusing some of its best tricks and inventing some of its own." I got that repeatedly for Table for One, and also this, where I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't conscious of it, at least, but I was doing things in there that I was told, at least from some people, that they never saw before. And I wasn't there trying to, completely innovate things. I was just doing what I was doing. I'm a writer. I'm an artist. And they mentioned it enough times where I'm like, maybe it was something that no one did before. Like having panels within characters. They can see through each other and so on, and showing what's in front of them. It was always, to me, it was just fun to draw and just to, organically innovate these things as far as I knew. I don't know if they were, I don't know if they weren't. I just wanted to draw. And then here's another one from Brent Schenker, Graphic Policy. There's almost an autobiographical take on this story, which makes it fascinating. Fawcett was born into an Albanian Muslim family and raised Muslim. He has an interesting perspective on the subject, he writes. It's clear 9/11 has affected him. You can feel the anguish in this comic lingering from that event, and it's a spark for the comic within the comic, Pigman. There's over-the-top moments and statements, things that made me cringe, but Fawcett has a right to say these things, agree or disagree with the politics behind it. I can still enjoy the story, and this is one I want to see more of. That's fair enough, from a guy who's a leftist. And then this one, Fawcett uses a clever device of a comic within a comic to provide emotional and intellectual insight into the motivations of his protagonists. Technically, his use of this device is remarkable, as he slides between worlds with ease and grace. And as I noted here, the only positive from a negative review who wanted balance instead of the truth about the subject matter. He wanted balance, meaning he wanted to lift the Islamic side as much as I lifted the side against it. And it's like, why? It's like asking me. It's like asking Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. We need more balance between Captain America and the Nazis. Just a little more balance there. And that's exactly the equation here. I don't give a fuck about, quote unquote, passive Muslims or passive Germans in World War II. I'm talking about those at war with us, those who kill. That's the problem. That's the ones that Pigman kills. He doesn't kill, average Muslims. He goes after Muslims who murder, which are jihadists. So the balance that this guy wanted is silly. But that's what you get from leftists, But still, all things considered, it was pretty big of them to actually praise it to the extent that they did. And I do appreciate it, I gotta say, because that's non-existent today. Non-existent. Let me read a few more comments, guys. SX says, very true. The intro to the Iron Man movie was the most Marvel ever did to address jihadists. Yes, terror. And they still didn't even mention that they give them the name, the 10 rings and all that. But it was close. And it was, on one level, it was cathartic to see an American superhero dressed in armor killing these fuckers. That was awesome. That was awesome. Even though they weren't explicit about it, we know what they were. Um, Hamilton Berger says it makes sense that artists in their early works will unconsciously emulate their influences. As they get more experience, they develop their own unique voice and style, for sure. And I wasn't, again, I wasn't even conscious of that, like in terms of Toth and this and that. I don't think my art looks like Toth. I think it would be presumptuous for me to even say that, or like John B. Jr. or John Bassim or Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko. I don't think so. People can maybe, you know, look at it and say, well, there's elements there, possibly, but I'm not conscious of these things. My style is not what John B. Jr. calls his deadline style. That's not it for sure. I do have a deadline, you know. I do give myself self-imposed deadlines, but you try to do the best you can with the time that you have. And then, so I gave you a little taste of what the leftists were saying about the infidel. And I'm going to reread this. If you guys, maybe you were here a little while back when I read this, but I just wanted to bring it back a few days before the close, because I really want as many backers as I can get before the closeout. I'll be on Kings and I'll mention it, you know, if you guys are there or anyone else is there. And then I'll be streaming throughout the day. I shall be on with Katie early in the day. I'll be on earlier than her, then with her show, then on my own, and then an afternoon one, and then the Kings, and hopefully Kangs, or I'll just do it after until I collapse that day, because it's going to be. I'm dedicating that entire day to trying to get this out and make it as strong a close as I can. As strong a close as I can. So let me read this. It's written by Daniel Greenfield, who, with all full disclosure, used to write the articles that I drew cartoons for Front Page Magazine. David Horowitz, his publication for the Freedom Center. So he knows me. He loves comics, and he loves Pigman. And he was very, very kind, to the point where it's hands down the best review I've ever gotten for any of my work ever. And it's pretty extraordinary. And it's a little self-serve for me to read this, but I just want to have someone else's words instead of mine pitch it to you, is what I'm basically doing right here. Flady1 says, Pigman in 2 words, savvy and savage. Savvy, how it displays the hypocrisy of various media and cultural identities. Savage, and how it addresses dealing with evil in his own style. I appreciate it, Flady. Thanks a lot, man. I also appreciate your support as well, Flady. Thank you so much, man. I'll take that. So here we go. Just want to read a little. Well, I want to read the whole review, but I'll go back and forth. You guys have anything to say? I'm going to read it off, so keep that in mind. You'll be part of the show. And again, if anyone's on this stream who hasn't backed it, please consider backing Pigman. I really need your support. Fund my comic. Check it out. Check out the trailer. Check out the 9-page preview. Check out the 6 covers. There will be a 7th cover, a closeout cover as well, which I'm going to debut on Monday. And it's a little different than the rest. I will say that. So, let me read. I say, here's the best review I've ever gotten for any of my work or for anything I've done for issue 3 of my Pigman comic book, written by the great Daniel Greenfield, originally published on Front Page Magazine, but I couldn't find a link to it, so it's all posted below. There was a link to it after. I just want to read it off here, though, because it's just more accessible, I guess. He wrote, Fighting Jihad in a Politically Correct Comic Book World. Tales, this is 10 years ago, actually, this review. Tales from the comic book. This is months after I won the Muhammad Cartoon Contest. Months after. I finished issue 3. Ended up being almost 3 times bigger than what I intended. And been drawing thousands of cartoons between them. So I thought this was a great opportunity with Comics here to relaunch Pigman. So he goes, Fighting Jihad in a Politically Correct Comic Book World. Tales from the Comic Book Infidel Underground. He goes, superheroes have never been more culturally dominant than they are in the age of the billion-dollar Marvel or DC blockbuster and have never been less relevant. He was right then, and he's sure as hell right now. The emotional momentum of the idealism of Superman creators Siegel and Schuster, Batman creator Bob Kane being viciously beaten up as a boy, and fantasizing about vigilante justice have died out, leaving behind a lifeless cast of familiar characters owned by movie studios going through the same routines, dying and being reinvented just long enough to become the same thing all over again. If someone actually set out to reinvent the superhero, to make him relevant to the world we live in today, and to give him the emotional investment of classic comics, he would have to be shut out of the marketplace in self-defense. And that's exactly what happened to Bosch Fawston over The Infidel. Long before the Draw Muhammad contest came under attack from Islamic terrorists, Bosch Fawston had been the voice for truth and freedom in a field where conservative voices are unrepresented. Again, it's almost tough to read, but I got to read it because it's so, you know, grand, the compliments. But again, I get a little embarrassed, but what are you going to do? He goes, Frank Miller's Holy Terror was one of the few anti-jihad comics, and DC refused to allow Batman to appear in it, but Holy Terror was a muddled work. Fawston's Pigman summons up Miller in his prime. The Infidel #3 featuring Pigman is Fawston's Dark Knight Returns. It's where his ambitious, complex story comes into its own as Killian Duke, an ex-Muslim comic creator, faces a legal battle against a care-like group and violent attacks by Muslims determined to silence him, including by his own brother. Meanwhile, his character Pigman, created after 9/11, Hamilton. Bosch, I appreciate the shout out, but I think you meant to pin your link rather than my greeting. Okay. I did that, didn't I? That is so silly, man. Hilarious. Give me 1 second, guys, as I fix that. That is funny. And silly. Let me 1 second, guys. That's hilarious. Thanks for the shout out, Hamilton. Appreciate it. That is funny. Okay. Right. I think I fixed that. And now let's get back here. Okay. That's hilarious. Huh, I just thought we got a free Hamilton burger with each packing and disappointed now. It's hilarious. Ah, silly on my part. Okay, so I just want to see something quick, guys. Give me 1 second. And if you hear any echoes, I'm sorry. Okay. It looks like it's all going well. Okay. All 3 platforms. Very, very cool. All 3 platforms are working. By the way, if anyone out there, if you guys have seen, are you watching Dexter Resurrection? If you are, let me know. I think it's great. I think they stepped up big time in this season. Hey, David O. How's it going? Appreciate that. Thank you very much, man. Huh. I just backed Table for One. The email receipt isn't specific as to what book was backed. It just says contribution to Pigman #1 and the price $30 plus. Interesting. When it comes to the fulfillment, I hope I can figure that out and keep and remember it. Because it usually has the exact title and everything else on there. But if it says that, I think I'll know between the two. For the $30 one, I think I'll know then by the price of it, David L. Absolutely. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the support, David. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I think by the price alone, I guess if that's all that's there, I'll know which one it is. Thank you. Okay. Let me go on here. Face a legal battle against a care-like group, and the care-like group in the Infidel is a group called Your Muslim Friends. It's an impositional title. Your Muslim Friends, like Don't question it. They're your Muslim friends, okay? And you have to say that your Muslim friends, your Muslim friends. It's it's very manipulative. And at one point, Killian calls them YMFers, you motherfuckers, instead of you Muslim friends, YMF. Um, yeah, Hamilton. Glad to hear Dexter Resurrection is good. I love the character in the books, but it might have been the most inconsistent show in terms of quality from season to season. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. Even the last one that Dexter, I forgot what it was. The last one. Um, Thanks, David All. Much appreciated, man. Thank you for your support. Hamilton, yeah, this is at least to me. I mean, you might, who knows? We're different people. You might take it differently, but man, top to bottom, across the board, from the acting, from the story, from the setup, and the season is better than what they promised. At least I anticipated what might happen, but they went a little even further than that. So I'm like, all right, well done, man, well done. I think the seventh episode just came out. I believe it was the seventh episode. Definitely worth watching. And again, he's like the criticism. Well, he's a psychopath and he's a serial killer. Yeah, you know the actions. The actions are righteous, regardless of the situation, how it gets there, the motivations, the code his father imposes, and all that. What he does ultimately, I think that's the saving grace of the character, where you can get behind him to some extent. It's like, okay, I can't see myself doing that, but if the situation is what it is, and do a pretty damn good job. Doesn't hurt also that Michael C. Hall is great at playing Dexter. Original Sin was good. Yes. Original. Are you saying that Original Sin was back and forth, inconsistent? Because Original Sin, that's the Dexter Origins. The Original Sin was good too, Hamilton. That was high quality. It was better than expected. Headless Bourgeois, I backed all six covers. Thank you very much, man. Propaganda, the cards, and the sticker. Now I'll back number. Thank you very much, man. Headless Bourgeois, much appreciated. The only reason I haven't backed Table Phone is that I already have it. Hail. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Truly. That's a hell of a supporter, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. David also, I can't wait to receive both of them. I can't wait to get them out. I can't wait to hear the word. I mean, you guys, I hope I can give you what you guys wanted, something interesting, something different, taking on a real world enemy. I mean, again, it used to be the norm in our culture. Were we a healthier culture, again, I would have the competition that I thought I would have post 9/11, in terms of taking on jihad and being competing with others who are doing it. Okay, my comic is doing this, yours are doing that. Let's see who does it better, and so on. No. Um, Predator Killer of Killers last night. Animated? I haven't even heard about that one. Hamilton Burger. No, I'm saying that was yes. Okay, right. Before the Alaska Sea. Yes, yes. I forgot what the title was. The one where he was, I guess, in Alaska. I forgot the one. That was fine. I mean, it had its moments, but it wasn't great. This one's great. A Dexter Resurrection. It's like he's some kind of a monster, coming back to life. He just doesn't die, like Friday the 13th and stuff, like Halloween. Hellas Bourgeois. So I have the original Pigman 1 to 3, and I enthusiastically recommend that everyone back the remastered version. Hellas Bourgeois, again, thank you very much, man. Especially the fact that you already had them and you backed this. So that's a particular appreciation from me. Thank you very much, man. It means a lot. That definitely means a lot. Thank you very much, man. Man. All right, guys. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to get going soon because I got some work to do. I just wanted to read this, catch up with you guys, and also just stream a little before the closeout. That's going to be a big day for me. So let's see. Meanwhile, his character Pigman Killian Duke is the creator of Pigman in my story. He's you know, a self-insert, right? Sure, whatever. That's seen as a bad thing always. It's not always a bad thing. I wanted to show that Islam is not a race. You can have red hair, blue-eyed, blonde hair Muslims. You can have all different colors of Muslims, all different races. That was one way I could put it in there, and also use a little of my background. Um, and while Albanians are not necessarily known for jihad, even Albanian Muslims, the fort, what was it? Fort Dix. It was some Muslim Albanians who were wanting to attack our soldiers at Fort Dix, I believe, in New Jersey. And their name was Dukai. Dukai. Sorry, guys. I'm going to turn off the phone now because I know that it just itches to try to take control of this stream. I don't know how to disconnect it except press disconnect. It's weird. But Dukai was their name. And that's where I got the name for the brothers. They had different names. I said, I want to use that name. Dukai, Salam Duka. It's pronounced, it's spelt. And Duke, Killian Duke. He changed it, Americanized it, thinking about John Wayne, the Duke. David L says about the Predator animated movie. It's an animated movie about 2 hours. It takes place over different times and places, but all ties together in the end. Fun watch. Cool. I haven't even heard about it. I think Disney and Hulu are now connected. I haven't had Disney Plus in a while though. I got it for the Daredevil Born Again, and as soon as that's done, I'm done. So I don't like to hold on to these things if I don't need them. Saw Cobra Kai, the last season of that, got Netflix and just got rid of it right after. And of course, I'm reminded that, hey, they did Cutie, so I'll never do that. It's like, okay, I'll still watch good stuff if it happens to be in that platform, even if they did that. I'm not going to deny myself something that I want to watch. It's like Disney. I'll watch the FF, even though it's Disney and they're full of shit. I'll watch Superman, even though James Gunn and Warner Brothers and all their stuff, but and enjoy them. So, okay. Meanwhile, his character Pigman, created after 9/11, faces off against Islamic terrorists around the world to the fury and bafflement of a whole range of political doppelganger figures from Obama to Chris Matthews. The infidel. Now, it's funny because that was inspired clearly by Frank Miller, the reaction to Batman. I got the president reacting to Pigman. I have newscasters. I have comedians. I have all podcasters and X, Twitter at the time, even though it will be X again in the future issues. I have everything, social media, because it's a big deal. It's like, and people don't ask when Super Jihad appears. People don't ask, what's the president going to do? They ask, what's Pigman going to do? Because they have accepted the fact that our leaders have really given up on taking out jihad. They really have. I know that, Trump took out the nukes from Iran, which is great. But it's beyond that, it's beyond that. Supposedly there are a whole gang of Palestinians coming to America to move here. Palestinians, Gazans, impossible to me. Impossible to happen. They have 50 plus hellholes to go to, Islamic hellholes, and they come here, country that they hate, less than Israel, a little less than Israel. Why come here? Right, David. Well, it comes in a bundle. Okay, Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO. HBO Max is also part of that deal. So Disney Plus is linked with HBO Max. Interesting. I do have HBO Max. I do have that. I'm going to check out a second season of what's it called? Peacemaker. I don't care if it's some of the stuff, but overall it's pretty entertaining. Even that cartoon was pretty entertaining. And supposedly this is, locked into the new DC universe. So we'll have elements that were in the movie in this and so on, which is pretty cool. Roland K, doing well. How are you doing? Thanks. Thanks, Beaner. Thanks for asking. Doing well. This is a 3 day. In 3 days, I will close out Pigman. If you haven't backed that, I would really appreciate your support. I'm going to close out in 3 days, and I have a closeout cover coming as well on the final day. No commercials, good. Absolutely. You know, we have that choice. We always want to pay that extra price, man. Okay, so a whole range of political doppelganger figures from Obama to Chris Matthews in my comic. The Infidel #3 sternly moves from violent comic book fights to a courtroom debate about the Quran. Fawcett can show epic battles, but he also makes important points about Islam. Pigman is more than a character, he is the idea of resistance, reflecting his creator's turmoil, his anger, and his fight for the truth. And Fawcett doesn't shy away from dealing with the rough edges, whether it's a child caught in the middle of a war or the complicated emotions of two brothers following different paths. Opponents would like to dismiss the infidel as propaganda, but Fawcett's work isn't just powerful and compelling. It's also surprisingly nuanced about human realities. Duke and Pigman swiftly cut through the apologetics for Islam because they understand what is at stake, not because they think the world is simple or can be easily remade into what it should be without paying a price. I appreciate the hell out of that because, it's not propaganda. Propaganda is basically lies, talking up things or talking down things just for the hell of it. Everything that I talk up and talk down, there's a truth to it. I don't just. There is no good in Islam. I don't care if there are decent people that are Muslims. That's in spite of Islam. When they say there are good Muslims, yeah, especially in the West, they've been edified. They've been uplifted by values that are not Islamic. And of course, unfortunately for them, and they're dishonest, they attribute all that to Islam, which is terrible. Hamilton Berger says Canada has succumbed to this Gaza madness. Even politicians and state media who bend the knee are getting their homes and offices protested by flag-waving Hamas holes. Disgusting. David L says Lazarus was great. It's a 12-episode anime made by the guy who created Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. Is that what it is? I don't know. I've tried to get into manga. I've tried to get into anime. I don't know. I mean, I there's one that still appeals to me that I haven't bitten on yet. It's I see it at times at Barnes Noble. If I'm going to get one of them, that'll be the one. But we'll see. Roland K, I'm doing okay. Had a stressful birthday 2 days ago, and my communist friend Charlotte has been texting me the last 2 days about my pro-Israel posts on Instagram. At least she's been mostly nice. That's her problem, man. She's siding with monsters. She's siding with monsters. You're not the one who has to answer for it. She should. With all due respect to your nice friend, she's siding with monsters. And again, I don't know, man. Just this whole thing. It's like the leftists, when you fight crime, they see you as criminals. When you fight terrorism, they see you as terrorists, Muslims. Nasty, man. Just absolutely nasty, irrational. That is the timeless theme of great superhero stories, and it's why Infidel's closest parallel is Frank Miller's Dark Knight. This is a story about more than just fighting Islamic violence. It's about the mindset that it takes to fight it. It's about the fact that killing terrorists, as the U.S. still does, isn't enough without fighting for the truth. In an industry where Muslims are represented by the narcissistic, uncomplicated, media-friendly work of Muslim convert G. Willow Wilson, disgusting with Miss Marvel, Fawcett, an ex-Muslim, gets at the conflicts about Islam within a Muslim world. G. Willow Wilson sells secular Western liberals an appealing fantasy. Fawcett gets down to the bloody, violent roots of conflict, not just between Muslims and non-Muslims, but in the conscience of Muslims, many of whom have never read the Quran and don't understand its ugliness. And I deal with that as well in a story with his Muslim friend. He never read the Quran. He's a devout Muslim. No. When he reads it, let's just say he has a different take on what he thought was in his heart, as he puts it. But he's a decent guy. He's a decent guy, and he represents to me what my family members are. They're good, decent people. They happen to be Muslim. Some of them are rotten to the core, absolutely. And some of them actually became more Muslim after 9/11, which is self-damning. Um, which is, yeah, but there are good decent people. And again, it cannot, especially if you live in a Western country, a non-Muslim country, it cannot totally dehumanize you, even though there are elements in it that I think do undercut your humanity. The Jew hatred, the misogyny, the not eating bacon. That is inhuman, to me. But anyway, let's just maybe want to vomit, discuss people absolutely do it all. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, who's making the world the worst place? Communists, leftists, or Muslims? Leftists or Muslims? It's like they're at war to prove to us we're worse. We're worse. Oh yeah, we're worse. We're more dishonest. We're more violent. It's like battle it out on Mars, guys. Maybe Elon can get them all there, and we don't have to deal with it. Rolling case, I agree. When I say if a Muslim is peaceful, he's not following the religion. Leftists always say you could say the same thing about the Christians. No one brings up Islam when I'm not Christian. 100%. And again, you may disagree with Christians and Jews and this and that, but when it comes to the bad ones, this and that, if they're lying and stealing and cheating, this and that, yeah, their religions do oppose that. They do. But in Islam, if you lie, steal, cheat, kill, if you do it in the name of Islam, that's fine. If you do it against infidels, that's fine. Roland King, my family is nominally Muslim, as was mine. Great people who call themselves Muslims but never practice or preach it. 100% same here. And that's why, I can still relate to them. They still every so often contact me out of the blue with no hard feelings, really. Now, they're not going to be reading Pigman. They'll be probably watching my streams, this and that. But they know me. They know me from a long time ago, and they know that I came here honestly. I didn't come into my position because I want to cash in on something. And people had told me, they actually accused me, you're cashing in. Cashing in on what, fucker? You know how hard this is to get out there and to promote, I'm giving the world something that it doesn't necessarily want. The truth in an entertaining way about one of our great threats today. This savage ideology wants to dehumanize its own followers and therefore the entire world. They do, David O, they do hate dogs, Muslims. I didn't grow up around dogs. It was considered dirty. They're considered dirty. I ended up loving dogs. Absolutely not, Rolling K. There is no moral equivalence between Jesus and Muhammad. That's for sure. Bretsky the Great. Salute to you as well. Appreciate it. That's the thing, Rolling K. I have Jewish friends, I have Christian friends, and I have Muslim family members who I still can relate to and get along with. From a distance, I mean, we all live different areas. I don't see them necessarily. If something happens within a family, maybe might end up in, I don't expect any real trouble, at least with some of them. Some of them, I gotta watch my back. We'll see about that when the time comes. But yeah, the idea is this, and it's always this. If there's a death cage match between Jesus and Muhammad, who's going to win? I mean, that's a thing. Jesus will go there and turn the other cheek. And I think that's also self-destructive. I know people say, well, he didn't mean that. Hey, man, I take things, kill the infidels where we find them. That's a thing. That's in the book. And they do follow that. Love the enemy, turn the other cheek. Christians do that. One of our, tenets of our foreign policy is that turning the other cheek after an atrocity like 9/11. Going easy on Islam and calling it a religion of peace. Oh, it's just a small minority of extremists. That's altruism. That's, living for others. That's giving people lies instead of the truth. Those type of things. It's like the extreme version of that is homicidal. It's suicide in terms of the religious, Christians who go up against Muslims, let's just say. They want to try to convert them and try to come to them peacefully. Muslims will not do that with them. They will not give them that kind of grace. Absolutely not. Beat them, and ultimately kill them, try to make them submit, try to force them also to declare their faith, the Shahada. There is no, there was no God but Allah. Muhammad was his messenger. That if you say that, you become Muslim. Oh, I became Muslim, guys. Um, I play with that in the infidel as well between the brothers. The Shahada, the declaration of faith. That's all you need to say to become a Muslim. Think about that. And he mocks that Killian in the book to his brother. He goes, "That's all you need to say. You can be a rotten to the core as you are. You can be a murderer, steal, rob, steal, cheat, lie, and all you gotta do is say that, and you're good, man. You're good. And the more you do in the name of Islam, meaning killing infidels, the better chance you have of getting to paradise. That's also the deal." Um, yeah, cashing in on death threats. I did that. I definitely monetized my would-be murderers in peaceful death threats. These crazy Muslims from all walks of life, Pakistani pop star, whatever that means, calling to have me beheaded, hung. I think she put hung, um, with a following. Engineers, doctors, people who work at Facebook, and so on, and they have no shame. You would think it'd be a little more circumspect. Like, I don't know if I should put that out there. They don't care, and they don't get much blowback because when I did complain to Facebook and the other platforms, they were like, "This did not violate our terms." I said, "Death threats don't violate your terms." What the crazy? But let me go on. The infidel is uncompromising. The infidel is uncompromising not only in its violence but in its refusal to back down from the truth. Duke and Pigman's alter ego Frank Warner aren't willing to pretend that Islam can be reformed. I'm not either. It can't be reformed. The Reformation, the quote unquote Reformation, was already done in Muhammad Wahhab. He wanted to bring Islam back to what it actually was, not to any kind of modified version, more humane version. No, he wanted to bring it all back to the roots, and that's why you used to hear post 9/11 Wahhabism, Wahhabism. That's the problem. It's like, no, bitch, it's Islam. Wahhab was just the guy, Muhammad Wahhab. Some call it Wahhabism, but it's basically Islam as such. That's all it is. And I'm so glad that name has gone down the shitter. No one talks about it anymore, which is awesome because it was like a red herring. People said it in order to not say Islam, and they still bullshit themselves. Radical Islam, Islamic totalitarianism, as some objectivists say, which makes me sick. Um, Islamism, all these bullshit terms, they're buffers, mental buffers, verbal buffers, textual buffers to not say Islam. Because Islam sanctions all of the evil that we see happening in the world. Islam as such, not alleged deviant versions of it. Islam as such. Um, the stories you told are nuts. They are nuts, David. And also, I mean, I was part of a Muhammad contest that I won 20 minutes after my speech. Two savages from Arizona drove to the place hours and hours and hours in Texas, to Texas, and to mass murder us. And they got their heads blown off. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome. Rolling case, if they're going to keep wasting your time with those messages, might as well make money. Absolutely. Um, it was fun. And it was interesting because they sent me those death threats over Muhammad cartoons. So I created new Muhammad cartoons because of those new death threats, and I published them alongside those new death threats, which is hilarious to me. And besides drawing Muhammad on each of those pages, which I have like a half dozen to a dozen death threats on each page, I roast a number of them in red ink on their actual death threats. And believe it or not, guys, I use the best of death threats for those books, for the 2 volumes that I have. I can make at least 3 more, at least. I use the best, believe it or not, because some of them get mind-numbingly boring. It's really fun. Let me continue here, and then I'll get going. Got to get some stuff done. Um, The infidel is uncompromising not only in its violence, but in its refusal to back down from the truth. Duke and Pigman's alter ego, Frank Warner, aren't willing to pretend that Islam can be reformed. Infidel 3 takes on Islam every bit as relentlessly as corporate comic books take on imaginary supervillains. Critics would accuse Falsten of hating Muslims, but this is a debate taking place among Muslims. The infidel's world, in which Killian Duke is hunted by his Muslim brother, is our world, in which Muslim women are honor killed by their fathers and atheist bloggers in Bangladesh are brutally murdered. This is a story about the bloody price of Islam and the bloody price of fighting it. It's about the moral cost of our choices told in a setting that encompasses a comic book version of our world and the real world. This is challenging, big picture stuff. That is, I don't know, if there's a pull quote there, that probably means the most because, again, this is a subject that no one wants to really touch. And I tried to make it as compelling as I could and entertaining as I could without boring the reader, without bashing them over the head with all these things that I learned about Islam and jihad and outside of my own experience. Um, this is challenging, big picture stuff. It's a material that most creators wouldn't tackle, not only for political reasons, but because it's so hard to pull off, and yet Fawcett does it. That's one of the greatest tributes I think I've ever gotten, ever. Thank you, Daniel. If you're watching, if you're out there, again, thank you very much, man. His art is dynamic. He goes from striking action scenes to cleverly paced dramatic moments. You can see echoes of Frank Miller, Eduardo Rizzo, and Mike Mignola in his storytelling, reminding you that Fawcett is an Eisner Award nominee. There are great visual storytelling moments here, like the crowd tearing at Pigman in Mecca, scenes of Obama on the golf course, and the collision between reality and comic book and the cliffhanger ending. And yet, Bosch Fawcett is a pariah, an infidel in an industry that rewards praise of Islam and punishes blasphemy against it as coldly as any Iranian Ayatollah. And I just want to mention here, again, this is 10 years ago. I tried to get your boy Zach interested in this, and he trashed it as stupid. Pissed me the fuck off. And it was a dishonest. And then you hear that your boy Zach got hooked up with, he had a Muslim daughter that he talked about. She wears a headscarf. It's like, why is she wearing a headscarf? I think he knocked up someone while he was overseas, in a stupid fashion, and brought that here. And I think he's stupid about the issue of Islam and stuff. And that's why he called it stupid. And again, I call him stupid for calling it stupid. Unread. He didn't read Pigman. He don't know what it's about. He don't know my background. Know nothing. Trashed it out of hand. That's dishonest. And for a guy who talks a big game about being canceled and all that, and trashing shit comics and not even give me a chance, fuck him. I can't stand that shit. So to hell with him. And I checked out on him at that time. I listened to him. I listened to Ethan for a while. Again, I'm way back 2017, but I used to lurk. I used to comment here and there, but I didn't think that Comics Gate was something that was what I could be part of. I was always a loner. I never thought about joining any kind of group in any fashion. And then I think it was Trashcast that really got me into what Ethan was doing and saying and being forthright about those who were coming into the space who don't belong there. That was a big point, a flashpoint in this movement, because it's like, you guys suck. You guys suck. All the Kings, all the old guys are longtime comic book fans and creators. The other guys aren't. The guys who are coming in late. Even your boy Zach, he came in very late in the game in terms of making comics, and I saw a little of it, but I have zero interest in reading them. He asked his listeners years ago to ask him what we thought of Jawbreakers, and I gave some opinions on it, and I never heard back. I took the time out to give him some opinions, and it's like, all right, I guess it's a one-way deal here. David also says Zach is a boring retard. I liked what he was doing. I liked the fact that there was a voice out there trashing what needed to be trashed. When you have shit comics being done, you have to have someone who calls them that. You have to. It's important to keep this space clear of mediocrities. At least, hopefully, But he himself is a mediocrity. So, it's all Also, his refusal to do live streams. I don't get it. Why not? Because he can't handle criticism. Hey man, you're gonna talk a lot. You be ready to be talked back at. Be ready for it. I mean, some of these guys are also like the war campaigners, right? And the ripitards. They come after me. I'm like, bitches. I was almost murdered by my most extreme critics. I got thousands of death threats. Nothing you can say can affect me in any way. I mean, it's comical to me to hear some of these guys think that they're gonna, you know, hurt me somehow with their words. David also, I'm glad you're here now, Bosch. Me too, man. I like your work. Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated. Headless Bourgeois, you're the most canceled creator in CG. I mean, I was, it's funny, Headless Bourgeois. I was pre-canceled. I was on the verge of being looked at by Marvel and DC. I had ins with them, with Joe Quesada, with Mark Chirillo, with Random House. I was nominated for an Eisner, nominated for Rustman and Most Promising Newcomer Award. All that. It was always on the verge, on the verge, on the verge. And then the point when it was collapsed completely was when I announced that I was doing a book against Islam and Jihad, Pigman. That was it. That was it for fellow cartoonists I used to have companionship with, and they were my, it was a camaraderie with fellow cartoonists, and we didn't talk politics or anything at those events. We used to sell comics and talk comics, and go after and get drinks and have dinner, and it was great. All these indie artists, and then when I announced that I was doing that, they caught wind, and I saw them at a convention, one of the small press conventions, and I was walking up and I said, "Hey," and they turned their back literally on me and walked the other way. And I got to say, I was a little hurt. I didn't expect that. I was shocked, actually. I said, and after a while, I was like, okay, all right, fuckers. My politics are going to turn you in that way. You know me to be a good person. You hung out with me for a few years over these conventions. I don't begrudge you your bullshit ideas in politics. You shouldn't mind. But it's, that's just the way it is. So I was pre-canceled in a lot of ways. I never got even a chance to be fired or to be canceled, But I didn't mind. I knew as soon as I was working on a comic book that took on jihad, that was it. That was whatever chance I had at getting into the mainstream was shot, and I could live with that. I was like, all right, fuck it. I have to take on this enemy. This is a story that I have to tell, and I felt incredibly compelled to do that. And here we are. He goes, and yet Falsen is a pariah, an infidel in an industry that rewards praise of Islam and punishes blasphemy against it as coldly as any Iranian Ayatollah. That's absolutely true. If Falsten had flipped the script and written the comic from the perspective of an American who converts to Islam and fights against his racist American brother's Islamophobic campaign, there would be rave reviews. Think about that. That's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. If Falsten had flipped the script and written the comic from the perspective of an American who converts to Islam and fights against his racist American brother's Islamophobic campaign, there would be rave reviews. Instead, he writes from the perspective of an ex-Muslim fighting against the real racism and violence of Islam. 100%. And that's why even Muslims, they try to deny the reality that I was Muslim. And I think part of it is because my look. They're racist. A lot of, especially the Arab Muslims, they're racist against blacks, against white Muslims, black Muslims. They think that they're the elite Muslims, the original ones from Arabia, right? Arabs, and everyone else is, different tiers, just lower and lower. Headless Bourgeois says, "I followed you since discovering you when the Draw Muhammad contest incident went down. I've always admired the strength of your conviction and your work." Damn, that's been a while, man. Thanks a lot, Headless Bourgeois. See, I don't know where people come from sometimes. I think some people, you guys discovered me last year when I was first on Ethan's show and on King's. But some of, like Headless Bourgeois and some others, after a while, I do find out that you guys did know about me, which is pretty damn cool. because I don't know exactly where people are coming from, whether they did know about me or not. But that's very, very cool. Hella spiritual. Thanks, man. Um, at one point, Killian Duke addresses the jury. If you told me after 9/11, and this is a point in the story, if you told me he's talking to the jury after as being dragged into court under false pretenses, really, as being they're trying to destroy his ability to continue his Pigman comic book. If you told me after 9/11 that Pigman would be the only anti-Jihad comic book being published today, I wouldn't have believed it. And yet here we are in a world where Muslim superheroes are more acceptable than superheroes fighting Muslim terrorism. That's a damning indictment of our culture. There are only Muslim superheroes being printed by published by DC and Marvel today. Only Muslim superheroes. No anti-Jihad superhero. That's anathema to them. The fact that that's impossible. The fact that a Muhammad movie is impossible. Our culture is damned in a lot of ways, presently at least. I think we can come out of it. I still believe in us, but we're in a bad place. Still, 24 years next month removed from 9/11. Here we have a piece of shit Muslim communist trying to be mayor of New York. We have Gazans coming into America right now. We have hundreds of people slaughtered every single week in the name of Islam globally. Hamas is still, not defeated. It's like if there's a criticism of Israel, it's like, guys, you should have obliterated those rats already. They took out a lot of their leadership, but you got to take them out. You don't have all the time in the world. You have to take them out, end them, end that threat. And that way, the other terrorist groups in Gaza and in the Palestinian territories will think twice if you pummel them out of existence within a short period. You don't let these things go prolonged, but politicians are in charge of these wars, and that's what kills it. It kills it. You need, I don't know, better people to direct these wars. Rolling K, I discovered you 5 years ago when I was killing time on my phone at work one night and randomly found out the winner of the Dra Muhammad Day is an Albanian ex-Muslim atheist. Very, very cool, man. Very cool. Yeah, I know I have some religious friends who, why aren't you, Christians? There's something about Islam, I think, that discourages any more religion after you leave it. It's such a bad taste. The only God I ever knew was Allah. The only God I ever prayed to was Allah, and I'm done. And again, I have no animosity towards other religions per se. I reject all faith. I reject all religion. I absolutely do. But there are individual human beings who I admire, who I love, that are, religious. I got no problem with that. And they seem to have no problem with my atheism either. And it's not something that I go out there. I'm not a militant atheist, like I don't, I know atheists who are pieces of shit. I know atheists who are great. I know religious people who are pieces of shit and religious people who are great. It doesn't say much about the nature of the individual. It doesn't. When I hear Christians say, this godless America, we need more God, it's like, fuckers, look at the hellholes of the Islamic world. That's all God, all the time. So don't tell us that God's the answer. Your individual beliefs, that's fine. You won't believe that, but don't try to tell us that's a problem with America. If anything, religious belief should be a private faith. It's your thing. You can advocate for certain things. I guess if you're in a position, we can listen or not. But it's a private matter. It's in America, at least, we don't impose any religion on anyone. Some do, some want to. Absolutely not. Unacceptable. Headless Bourgeois said, did you hear J.D. Vance's comments while he was in the UK? He said he was afraid it was going to become a nuclear-armed Islamic State. That's a hell of a statement, and I did see that, and that's God damn it true. Muslim mayors across the board in the UK, not one, there's a handful of them, and they all go in the power areas. They go to London, right? They go to the big cities. Here you have the Madani. He's not going to some small place in America. He's going to New York City mayor. This is where they go. The power kegs. That's what they want. Because that the word will get out. It'll seem bigger than it is. You know, London mayor, New York mayor, Muslim. Oh man, that means we're taking over the world. We got to stop this, man. We have to declare war on jihad and those who promote it. Meaning, these type of things they shouldn't be able to. If you got a guy like the guy in London, he basically admitted that in his mind, he goes, "Well, this will be a part of life now. Terrorism. That's just part of it." That's unacceptable. That's an enemy of the state right there. To no intention whatsoever to fight jihad, zero, and to encourage it in a lot of ways by being passive against it. These guys are still crafty enough because they learn from the communist politicians to be a little more crafty, not to be as obvious because all these communist politicians in America, they'll never say I'm a communist. They'll say I'm a social democrat, whatever. They'll lie, but they know that that doesn't work with the populace. It just doesn't work. It can't get them elected. So that's a powerful statement that J.D. Vance said, because it's absolutely true. That is where they're going. Will they be able to pull back? Will they be able to get Tommy Robinson or a Tommy Robinson type movement in control of the country, grab a hold of it, and said, no, no more of this. No more of this. Not only are we going to stop Islamic immigration, we're going to send all of you scumbags back. All of you who come here to declare jihad on our countries, who want to Islamize our country. And again, that should be a factor right there. If we declare war on jihad, we can actually get rid of those Muslims who advocate to Islamize the West. That's an act of war. That's an act of aggression. That's a hostile member of our countries. Those who want to Islamize us, those who want to turn us from what we are, what we're supposed to be, a republic, into an Islamic hellhole. That's a threat to us. And those guys are enemies of the state. And if we had declared war on jihad, and therefore on those who want to push this, I don't think these things will be happening. I don't think that they would have a chance in hell of being in power. Roland K., what's your opinion of Christopher Hitchens? It's always interesting for me to hear what objectivists think of him. He was a strong critic of Islam, but he used to be Marxist and had a hate for Israel. He's a mixed bag, a drunkard, which I think fucked him up at times. Good about his criticism of, Islam, but he got stupid. He called it Bin Ladenism, which is really retarded, because that makes it into only one man. And if you take him out, then the problem's over. That's stupid. He also took credit for something that someone else said about Islamophobia, which I don't like. So a mixed bag. I like that he had balls. I like that he was willing to say certain truths about Islam. Certain truths about the Clintons, but then he'll go and vote for Obama because he's a commie in the end. He was in the end he was a commie, but he was better than a lot of them because he was willing to say certain truths about evil. So mixed bag. Liked some stuff, hated some stuff, called him out, praised him, back and forth. There are individuals like that. They're fucked up. They have no integrity. There's no integration with their ideas, with their philosophy. They are of two minds about a lot of things. You can never trust them. You can never trust them, even though there are aspects about them that are admirable. So, really mixed bag. If America, okay. At one point, Killian Duke addresses the jury. If you told me, okay, and yet here we are. If this were a mainstream comic book, it would be heaped with praise. But since Fawcett has decided to write about Islamic terrorism, the infidel is an infidel. Bosch's work was condemned, and even his placement on the SPLC's hate list. If you guys don't know, I was listed as a hate group in the Southern Poverty Law Center's, whatever, their website. A hate group. I was actually identified it as a hate group, and I laughed it off. Looking back, I should have sued them the way Majid Nawaz did and got $3 million. Looking back, I'm just not a litigious person. I don't think along those lines. I laughed at it. I thought it was retarded. I mocked them, but that's it. Um, Bosch's work was condemned, and even his placement on the SPLC's hate list, a designation that has led to violence in the past, and this is true. Those that they declared hateful, were killed. You know, and they wanted to get to the bottom of where I lived. It's like, you motherfuckers. I make it a point to never mention anywhere, where I live. And they wanted to know. And they were curious, and they told the AP, we still don't know his whereabouts exactly. Maybe New York based. It's like, you try to get me killed here? What difference does it make where I live? Even the Wall Street Journal, when they interviewed me, they got nasty about it at the end. Where do you live? I said, America. Come on. I said, come on? Are you retarded? Why the hell would I tell you? Why would you want to tell your readers that? And so they, I think, got butthurt over it and made its title like I was afraid, I was on the run. I was making appearances like I normally did on television. The events, I got to admit, yeah, some of them were knocked down. I didn't go to any more conventions. If I did speeches, it was always with 2 armed guards flanking me. That's just the way it is, man. Yeah, Roland K. He called it that. That is retarded. He popularized the term Islamofascism and surprisingly was friends with David Horowitz and Douglas Murray. Definitely a mixed bag. Yeah, good, bad, ugly. But the good was really good. I will say that. He's such a fucked up guy. But that's the thing, you got damaged people. They have no integration in their mind, in their ideas, in their selves. They're disintegrated in a lot of ways. Good, bad, and ugly mix. That's most people. He did give up the Marxist label before his death, but claimed, I still think like a Marxist in a lot of ways. Yeah. Yeah. I won't say once a Marxist, always Marxist, because that's David Horowitz. Look at him. He fought it to the death until the end. In word and deed. So that's not true, but he was, and I don't think the drinking helped Hitchens either. I don't think so. He got stupid at times. He hit the sauce a little too hard. Sorry. Okay. The SPL, when they put me as a hate group, a designation that has led to violence in the past, only met with muted condemnation from a comic book community, normally quick. Those who don't know, the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund had one of their alleged free speech publications called Defender. And that particular issue, that particular month's magazine, whatever it was, it's a quarterly or something, I don't know. Are Cartoonists Under Fire? That was the title. After I survived the jihadist attack and all that, I wasn't in there. They had everyone else who wasn't literally under fire. I was literally under fire. I am a cartoonist, but they don't agree with my politics, so therefore I don't exist. I called the fuckers out. I was a card-carrying member of their, comic book legal defense fund. I was part of that. I paid them, and I got that card in the mail, and I got the publications and all that. I stopped cold. I said, fuck you guys. You're full of shit. You're just communists. You will ignore anyone who is not a communist because you guys are, they cannot survive, communists and Muslims, with competition. Competition to them means death, and in a lot of ways it will. They can't compete. In Battle of Ideas, they lost that battle from day one. The Battle of Ideas. That's why they get physical. That's why they lie and steal and cheat. They get elections, they steal them. That's why they have to do that, because the Battle of Ideas, they don't even pretend to fight the Battle of Ideas anymore. Left used to try at times. They still got their ass kicked if they had a good opponent, who wasn't trying to be nice all the time, who wasn't trying to turn the other cheek all the time. But Battle of Ideas, long gone. Not even the pretense is there anymore with Muslims and leftists. Um, a designation that has led to violence in the past, only met with muted condemnation from a comic book community normally quick to denounce anything at all, smacking of censorship. And that is the difference between the infidel and most comics today. The infidel takes place in the real world. It addresses real world issues in a way. And again, Marvel, they'll lie to us and say our world takes place in the real world. Really, in the real world, down the block, Muslims brought down the towers and thousands of Americans. What have you said about that? Anything worthwhile? No. No. You publish Muslim superheroes. A member of that same group of individuals who slaughtered those Americans. Um, the infidel takes place in the real world. It addresses real world issues in a way that no superhero program to churn out PC spin indistinguishable from the media and the rest of pop culture can. Every superhero is a liberal these days, pretending to be the underdog, whining about being isolated and outnumbered, while really being part of a ruthless political elite that suppresses dissent. This is damn good, man. I mean, on all levels. Just as a person, also appreciating, the cultural dissections here that he's making. The heroes of our culture are written by its villains. Let me repeat that. The heroes of our culture are written by its villains. 100%. Duke's Pigman is an underdog because no matter how many terrorists he kills, his limits are those of his creator, who is an underdog in the real world. Fawson has faced numerous threats. He has risked his life, and despite being at the center of one of the biggest stories of the year, his award-winning cartoon of Muhammad was censored by the media. The Infidel number 3 isn't just a comic, it's a passionate protest. Muslims have threatened plenty of cartoons that weren't worth it. Infidel number 3 is worth it. It's a powerful work of political outrage. Its creator fights Islam with art the way that his creation fights it with his fists. When Bosch Fawson gets threats, it's not because he's a provocateur, it's because he's a truth teller. I'm so glad that Daniel says it, because I reject that term. I don't. Some provocateurs actually admit it. I'm not a provocateur. That's Gavin McGinnis. That's Ann Coulter. They'll say shit, talk out of their ass all day, say things for effect, and then they're drunk or whatever. No. I stand by everything I say. Everything. If you want to call me a provocateur, to you, you're provoked by the truth. The truth is the greatest, most, this is why people get caught up in a lot of bullshit talk, right? They try to talk hard. It's like, just say the truth. Believe it or not, you'll get the most pushback that you want. You want to provoke? Tell the fucking truth. Short of that, you want to talk hard. You want to try to be provocative. You're gonna lose. You suck, and everyone knows it. You're trying to cause a stir. Tell the truth, and you'll see the stir. It'll come, like it or not. Infidel number 3 will offend care, not just because it shows a fight over Mecca or Muslim terrorists being ruthlessly hunted down and killed, but because its creator defends his views and exposes theirs. Pigman kills terrorists, but Killian Duke exposes them. Comic book superheroes are written off as people dressing up in silly costumes with nothing real at stake. In Infidel number 3, which will be Pigman number 2, which will be Pigman number 2. After Pigman number 2, it's all new material. In Infidel number 3, the stakes are real and real world. Fawson, like Duke, has been through the ringer. His world in which Muslim terrorists murder Americans and we apologize, in which those who fight back are viewed as the problem, and in which our government aids the terrorists to keep the peace, is our world. The boldness on the page isn't play acting. It's the work of a man who faces death for his beliefs and who doesn't go into hiding or disappears, but who continues defying the terrorists. Pigman's boldness, Duke's boldness, Fawson's boldness are all here, and they deserve our support. Damn. Honored as hell, man, from Daniel Greenfield. Fawson's work is up there with the best of them, and the Infidel number 3 is a gut punch whose art and writing remain compelling up until the end. It's a great comic, but it's also a great assault on Islamic terrorism and on its American appeasers and collaborators. The Infidel is the only truly relevant post-9/11 comic. Here's Pigman. Here's the cover of Propaganda. That's the cover art of Propaganda, which is available on my campaign as well. Check it out, guys. And in the meantime, let me pitch Pigman. We got 3 days to pitch. So if you're there, great guys. Thank you, man. It seems like the comments stopped. Maybe you guys ran to another stream. It's possible. That does happen. Um, Check it out after. So this is my Pigman campaign, Pigman #1, which I'm closing down in 3 days. 3 days it'll be shut down. It's the last chance for you guys to back this comic, to really show your support. I need your support. I want your support. I want this out there in a big way. I want to make some noise. I want Pigman to be part of this culture. I really do. I want it to be acceptable. I want it to be the norm that there's a superhero taking on jihad and people know about it. And they can pull, clutch all the pearls they want. It exists. It's real. And it's in your face. Um, so check it out, guys. Here's a trailer from Shanth Anchetti, who was kind enough to make that. Incredible. I got 6 different covers. I have a closeout cover coming as well, which will be a big cover. Let me just say that. A lot is in there. And I will add it to the... Keep in mind, guys, those who ordered also get all of the 6 covers, and I want it all. You guys will get that new cover. You paid for it already, even if you did it early on. It's a nice reward to people who came on early and did that. So, that's the one benefit I think you have of coming in early. Maybe keep it in mind next time for Pigman number 2. I got a 9-page preview. I have all these extras. I have prop Piganda, as you can see here. Cool. Thanks, Headless Sports Raw. Maybe I was yapping way too much, right? But I got I got original art. I have original commissions here that you guys can order. I have these hard index card drawings of Pigman. I have Table for One, my first graphic novel. Right out of the gate, I got the support of Alex Toth. Amen. Incredible. I have stickers. I have sketch covers as well. I have trading cards, digital copies as well, which will be the first one to go up naturally, and an email. And then I have these covers. This is a print, actually, a print of the War Paint cover. And I got the Pigman t-shirt. And if, there's always someone out there who might not know. So this is Pigman symbol. It is September 11th with the Twin Towers and like the ribbons, to commemorate something. September 11th, but also this is a 9/11, Flight 93 with a 3 right there. The 2 dents in there make that a 3, 9/3, 93, Flight 93. If you remember the Flight 93 where the passengers took out the hijackers and crash landed before it flew into Washington and the Capitol building. And then also the first attack on the Twin Towers in 1993 where they killed 6 people. They killed 6 people. Yes. Yes, Roland K. Thank you very much, man. 6 issues. That will be the series, and then in the end, the final form will be the one that I've always thought about, the pigskin leather-bound hardcover Pigman, which will have pigskin leather. I don't know if it'll be the whole book or an element or his fist in pigskin leather, something along those lines. But it'll be pigskin on there, so it'll be Islam-proof, Muslim-proof, and because, as I always say, I'll say it every time, and people are sick of it. I don't know, maybe. Pigman explores the Islamic enemy's bigotry by wearing pigskin leather. Thanks, man, Plush. Appreciate it. Thanks, Beaner. Thank you, man. I enjoy streaming. I wasn't sure if I would. I enjoy it. I really do. I like to stay focused, though. I like to have a certain theme, a certain idea, instead of just pop in there. Luke Rogenbuck. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, guys, so this is your last chance in 3 days, basically. I will close it out in 3 days. Pigman, no book like it out there. I will say that. There's no, you get books that sometimes echo each other. No, the closest thing that would echo this is Holy Terror by Frank Miller, but not good. It wasn't good. I hoped it was. I wished it was, and all that. No, he went soft. He got limp, and he went after only Al Qaeda, not after Islam, not after Jihad per se, but Al Qaeda, very specifically that group. And unfortunately, he also said it in an interview, and this is the way he said it with his voice. I don't know what happened to Frank Miller's voice. He used to have a deeper voice. He has, I don't know squat about Islam, but I sure as I'll know a lot about Al Qaeda. It's like, and he also said Islam. I don't know why. Um, I was pissed when I heard that. I don't know squat about Islam. Why not, Frank? If you take on an enemy, you should at least know their ideology. You could tell a better story, a deeper, richer story. I made sure that I knew. I studied too much. In contrast to what Frank Miller did, I overdid it. I will forget more about Islam than most people will ever know. Um, but I thought it was important to know, to get in the enemy's head, and also to find a way how to exploit the enemy, how to beat the enemy, how to enrage them, how to, get them to do stupid things and so on. It's important. It's important for us to know our enemies intimately. Those in power, or so-called intellectuals. If you're not intellectually honest, you're not an intellectual. So I don't know what the fuck we have now. We have these pseudo-intellectuals out there who don't do the work. Yeah, they couldn't wait to yap out there. Both conservatives and leftists, and even some objectivists, they couldn't wait to create their own pet names for this threat. It went from Islamic totalitarianism of objectivists to radical Islam conservatives to Islamism, you know, and all this other bullshit. Um, Fundamentalist Islam, Islam, whatever, all these stupid names. It's a game. We never said radical Nazism. That's the threat. Not Nazism is fun, but radical Nazism. Ugh. Militant communism. That's the problem. Because once you put the idea that we're dealing with radical Islam, you're implying that Islam as such is fine. It's just that the radical version. But if you take that literally, if Islam means peace, the way we've been sold, wouldn't radical Islam mean radical peace? Wouldn't that? Wouldn't extremist Muslims be extremely peaceful? By that logic, it's a dangerous game that we played after 9/11. Very dangerous, and we're suffering today because of it. Because once, in the moment of truth, once you lie your ass off, it's tough to get the truth back. There will be individuals throughout years who will always tell the truth, but culturally, can you get that moment back? I don't know. And some people also say like they're waiting for an attack because then we'll learn. We don't learn from attacks. If we didn't learn from almost 3,000 Americans being slaughtered, having to force themselves to jump off the towers, if we didn't learn then, no attacks can help us learn. It's an intellectual thing. You have to think your way out of this. You can't wait for something horrific to happen to change you. No. You choose or you don't. It's an individual choice at that point because you know the truth. We all know the truth. And most of us have decided to lie about it ever since. And there's another aspect. I mean, Frank Miller felt the same thing that I felt after 9/11. And in this way, it is a feeling that you can't create villains, supervillains as bad as these guys. But they do. It's impossible. It's impossibly evil. So you might as well just take them on explicitly with no metaphor. There's no metaphor in a time of war either. World War II, Captain America wasn't fighting, uh, forms of Nazism or like a fictional way. No, he was fighting Hitler, punching him. That's what you do. Metaphors keep in science fiction. Maybe that'll work. But this is a real world threat that I think has to be taken on. And again, to do so in an entertaining way, an engaging way, in a way that gives you a symbol of what should be done to them. I think it's important also to see this man, this ex-Muslim pigman, Frank Warner, take on this enemy in a ruthless way, scaring the fuck out of them. That's the last thing they want to face. A fearless, ruthless ex-Muslim who knows their language, and who hunts them down and kills them. Doesn't punch them out, he kills them. So, guys, that's my pitch for today. I will do another one tomorrow night. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you to spend time with me here. Um, Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to let you hear something because there was something that I said years ago at a debate, 2011, which I repeated here. And I'm going to try to find it. Give me a second, and I'm going to read the last few comments, and then I got to get going. But thank you for being here, everyone. I always appreciate your time, always. Um, uh, and if I do this, I should be able to come across it, and then I can let you hear it. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. And I think you guys can hear it. Give me 1 second. I have to do something. I think if I do this, you tell me if you hear it. Huh. Can you hear it? Tell me if you can hear it. I hope you guys were able to hear that because there's a certain way that I was able to let people hear. I hope you guys heard that. If not, it's basically, damn it, you didn't hear it. What can I do? What can I do to let you guys hear it? I will do this then. Okay. All right. You guys can hear me through the mic at least, so I will try to do this. Give me 1 second. It won't be as clear as well, but I will get the idea to you nonetheless. About radical Nazism. It's a preposterous idea. To me, when I hear radical Islam, it's as if I'm hearing radical Nazism. It's the same shit. Same shit. Islam as such is evil. Nazism as such is evil. To say radical Nazism is to say that Nazism as such is fine. The radical form is a problem. Same with Islam. Roland K says, don't call it Nazism, quote unquote. Wait, quote, don't call it Nazism. It's a peaceful ideology corrupted by Hitler. Call it Hitlerism. That's right. I feel like that would be a funny allegory for Islam bitches for a novel. Absolutely. And that's why I said the problem is evilism. Okay? Evil is fine. But evilism, that's the real problem. But let me see if I can get this on here at least. At least you guys, and if you haven't heard it, some of you have heard it actually. Give me 1 second, guys. I appreciate your patience. Give me 1 second. I will show you this. Okay. Why the hell isn't it working? Very, very strange. Okay. SoundCloud. Anyway, the point is that I made this, I was part of a debate in 2011. A few months after I gave my first speech. I was in California. My first speech went to Florida for this event that I went to see Robert Spencer at. Robert Spencer was debating Andrew C. McCarthy about the issue of whether it's Islam or Islamism, all that bullshit, right? And this is interesting. What the hell is this about? 1 second. SoundCloud should be here. Okay. Strange. I don't get it. But I can play it here, I believe. Apologize, guys. I should be able to figure this out more than I have, but let's see. Okay, I can get it now. Okay, here.
And imagine in the
Okay.
and imagine in the past if we refer to enemy ideologies such as radical Nazism, militant communism. That kind of thinking leads us to try to find moderate Nazis. You know, uh,
Yeah, the audience loved it. Uh, they stood up, actually, some of them, because again, they never heard that before, mocking this idea, because it was very acceptable to accept the terms radical Nazism. Um, Rolling cases, it's a shame leftists are too pussy to invite you to their shows. It'd be great seeing you debate topics like Israel or socialism. I would love to. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Rolling K. Yeah, it was a small, slight excerpt in a probably 10-minute presentation that I made in the debate. And it was so gratifying because the audience really, they never heard anything like that before. I didn't think they would laugh and applaud in the middle of it. I didn't. But I think because the novelty of it, like, and also just it mocks the whole idea about radical Islam and all that bullshit that we tell ourselves. We never fucked around in World War II. We never fucked around in the Cold War. We never spoke about extreme communism, normative communism. This damn thing, guys, is hilarious. Ugh, I gotta cut it off again. Anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I will be here tomorrow night as well, and Sunday night as well, and then Monday all day to promote Pigman, to give it a shot to get more backers until then, as many as I can get. I hope to see you guys, if not there, at least on Commissary Kings on Monday. I'll mention it to everyone there that it's a final day you guys can get it. So thank you very much. Thanks for being here always. Thanks for the give and take. Thanks for indulging me also reading that article. Take care, Jeremy. Appreciate it. This was fun. An hour and a half. I didn't expect to go that long. So very, very, very fun. I got some work to do, and I hope you see the results of it within a few days. I will make the most of it. Take care, guys. Be well, and until next time, take care.